Hi. Hi, today my topic is immunology in pregnancy. So, what are the topics we are going to cover today is introduction, historical perspective and significance, and immunology at the maternal fetal interface, immune cells which are involved, antigen specificity and trafficking, infectious diseases control, and conclusion. So, first, when we come to the introduction about immunology in pregnancy, so placenta, which is normally located as a connection between the mother and the fetus, is the interface, and so the placental atmosphere consists of various immune cells which play an important role in the immunology in pregnancy, and these cells are the dendritic natural killer cells and macrophages and T cells which are located in the uterine decidua. So these cells play a major role in the pregnancy, which can be either the successful pregnancy or can be the failure of pregnancy. Various human and mouse studies have been studied to study these associations, and these immunology at the maternal fetal interface also plays an important role in the pathogenesis of various pregnancy complications. So, what are the pregnancy complications which you can see when there is any alteration in the immunology at the maternal fetal interface? One is the preeclampsia, congenital infections, IUGR, and recurrent pregnancy loss or abortions. So, coming to the historical perspective and significance, so the chance of successful reproduction in uterine mammals mainly plays an important role, and it mainly depends on the successful immunological status at the maternal fetal interface. So, the placenta and the uterus play a key role in it. So, what are the questions you should answer when coming to this topic? One is how, despite of the paternal histocompatibility, that is, the fetal gene consists of both the mother and the father's genes. So, despite the mother carrying the fetus, which also consists of the father's genes, which are immunogenic to the mother, there is no rejection by the mother of the fetus. So, paternal histocompatibility by the fetus should provoke tissue rejection response. So, the fetus, apart from having the mother's antigens, also has a father's antigen. Since the fetus is located within the mother should evoke an immune response against the genes from the father which are present in the fetus. But this does not happen in a normal pregnancy. So, the question is how this is overcome by the mother. So that is how the paternal histocompatibility does not provoke normal tissue rejection in the mother in a normal pregnancy. Second question is, unusual kind of decidual natural killer cells play a key role in the development of the pregnancy in the human and the mice. The third one is the immunological lesions underlying the pregnancy complications. So, if you see preeclampsia, which is a condition associated with the impaired trophoblastic function, so there is impaired activation of the natural killer cells, and this in turn causes impaired uterine vasculature remodeling, which in turn causes abnormal trophoblastic function and thereby result in the preeclampsia. So, pregnancy, when you compare with the mouse and the human, so the placentation is hemochorial in both the mouse and the human, and there is accumulation of the immunological cells, particularly the natural killer cells. So, when you see the comparison between two, if you see in the mouse, the pregnancy lasts for 20 days, and the placental trophoblasts do not invade deep in the decidual arteriole, and the preeclampsia and IUGR complications are very rare. So, decidual implantation occurs only at the site of implantation. But in humans, the pregnancy lasts for 9 months, and the trophoblasts temporarily replace the maternal endothelial cells, and complications like IUGR and preeclampsia are common, and decidualization occurs in the uterus at the site of implantation and also during the normal secretory phase of the menstrual cycle. So when you see the flow cytometry after immune staining at the maternal fetal interface, what are the cell constituents which are normally present in the human decidua? So the main constituent is the natural killer cells, which constitute 70%, and next is the macrophages 20%, T cells 10 to 20%, and other cells are rare. So coming to the maternal immune cells, so these immune cells which are present at the maternal fetal interface play an important role in the placental development and function, minimize chance of placenta being destroyed or attacked, and to overcome the infection, that is to curb the infection transferred from the mother to the fetus. So they are the natural killer cells, dendritic cells, macrophages, and T cells. So normally uterine structure, uterine mucosa during pregnancy undergoes decidualization in order to adapt the trophoblastic implantation. So what are the natural killer cells which you see? So natural killer cells plays an important role in transforming the spiral arteriole in the decidua. So normally the spiral arterioles which are present in the uterine vasculature of the mother in response to the pregnancy and trophoblastic invasion, they undergo a series of changes in pregnancy, though that can be classified as first phase and second phase. So with response to the invasion by the trophoblast of the growing embryo, there are certain changes in the mother's vasculature of the spiral arterioles in the uterine decidua. So what happens is the uterine spiral arterioles endothelium is replaced by the trophoblast, and incomplete transformation of the spiral arterioles and failure of adequate invasion of trophoblasts into the spiral arteriole structures during pregnancy can result in complications like IUGR and preeclampsia. So there should be an adequate trophoblastic invasion in the mother, the spiral arterioles, so that the resistance of the spiral arterioles comes down and there is adequate perfusion which helps for the adequate growth and development of the embryo and the fetus. So the role of interleukin gamma in remodeling of the spiral arterioles has been studied in various studies, and preeclampsia is an important condition which is associated with the impaired trophoblastic invasion of the spiral arterioles. So abnormality or any inhibitory signals to these natural killer cells can result in IUGR and preeclampsia complications. So if there is abnormal trophoblast endovascular migration, that can be due to the abnormalities in the natural killer cells or other immune cells, which in turn causes hypoxia and inadequate development of the fetus, resulting in IUGR. Second one is role in inflammation and abortion. So first we have seen that immune function is normally essential to produce a normal invasion of the trophoblast into the spiral arterioles of the decidua of the mother, so that there is adequate perfusion of the fetus and there is adequate growth, so that complications like IUGR and preeclampsia does not develop. Second, what is the role of these cells in inflammation and abortion? So normally the natural killer cells produce cytotoxic granules like perforin and granzyme. So see, these appear in secretory endometrium prior to the implantation. So there are CD56 and CD16. So during pregnancy there is a specific function of the transforming growth factor beta and interleukin 15. So these normally natural killer cells, they are immune and they should normally reject the fetus which contains the paternal genes. But during pregnancy, the natural killer cell cytolytic action is very low. So there is non-classical major immune histocompatibility antigens, molecular interactions on the trophoblastic cells. Dendritic natural killer cells is embryotoxic at certain circumstances. So normally during pregnancy there is reductions in the levels of interleukin 10 and increase in tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin 6. So this in turn causes embryo reabsorption. So second important cell is macrophages, which are second most abundant cells which constitute about 20%. They play an important role in remodeling pathogenic sensors and immune effector cells. So they have the markers of CD14 and CD209. So what they play important role is they help in remodeling. That is, it helps in remodeling of fibronectin, collagen components, matrix, metalloproteinases 9 and C1q complement protein. So there is increase in the macrophage levels in the third trimester, which plays an important role in development of the preeclampsia. So it also produces pro-inflammatory mediators like interleukin 6 tumor necrosis factor alpha and matrix metalloproteinases. So if there is alteration in these levels, there is an alteration in immune response which can cause acute chorioamnionitis and the risk of infection resulting in preterm birth. So next is other cells like decidual stromal cells, natural killer cells which are present in decidua, and the glandular epithelial cells. These act on the CD14 monocytes, which in turn can produce colony stimulating factors interleukin 10 and D macrophages, which also plays an important role in the major histocompatibility complexes which affect the growing endometrium and the development of the fetus. So dendritic cells become adaptive immune responses play an important role, and these cells are involved in inflammation and pathogen response. So dendritic cells are very scarce at the maternal-fetal interface. Only 1 to 5 cells you can see, and decidualization causes a reduction in the dendritic cells, and dendritic cells usually causes they are found in abundant numbers in the lymphatic vessels and lymph node, and the decidualization usually causes reduction, and these functions are usually very low. So what are the functions of dendritic cells? That is, they play an important role in preparing the uterine mucosa to survey various pathogens which invade the maternal-fetal interface, then a T cell immunomodulation, and then tissue remodeling. So they play an important role in the immune regulation at the decidua. So other cells which are present in T cells interface of the maternal-fetal interface, the T cells which presents in about 10 to 20% first trimester. Predominant is CD3 cells with T cell receptors. So there are two types of T cells, which CD4, CD8. CD4 30 to 45% and CD8 is 45 to 75%. Of the CD4 cells, 50 are memory cells and 5 are regulatory cells, and CD8 is a 40% memory cells. So any alteration in the response of these CD4 and CD8 cells during pregnancy can cause preeclampsia and spontaneous abortions. So what is antigen specificity in trafficking? How many T cells have fetal and placental specificity? So CD5, that is CD4 plus cells, T cells in the pregnancy is elevated if mismatch in maternal fetal HLA-C-LA. So activated T cells can accumulate at the interface of the inflammation like chronic deciduosis, chronic chorioamnionitis. So normally the CD8 T cells, when they come in contact with the antigen, differentiate into the T helper 1 cells and cytotoxic T lymphocytes. So differentiation decidual stromal cells silences expression of the key T helper cells and the cytotoxic T cells attracting chemokines. Loss of chemokine silencing lessens in late pregnancy complications. So normally the CD8 cytotoxic cells activity is suppressed during the pregnancy, so that when they come in contact with the various other structures which can produce an immune response, they do not differentiate into T helper cells and cytotoxic T cells. This does not. So this helps in turn to prevent the immune response against the paternal genes present in the fetus. So the silencing of the CD8 cytotoxic cells is essential during pregnancy to produce a normal successful pregnancy. Any alteration in this can result in late pregnancy complications or even recurrent pregnancy loss. So infectious disease control is organisms infect placenta and amniotic membrane. So the fetal infections from the mother can transfer across amniotic membrane and the placenta. So malarial infection with Plasmodium falciparum can cross maternal blood and village tree, and other organisms also can affect the decidua and the placenta. So this can result in various congenital infections in the mother, and also preterm birth, IUGR, stillbirth, and congenital abnormalities. For example, like various torch infections can cause a placenta and results in congenital abnormalities in the fetus. So the decidua is ground zero for avoiding immunological assault on the infection. So if the immunological so the maternal fetal interface has two important features. One, if the immune status of the maternal fetus interface is properly regulated for the pregnancy, and there is no abnormalities in the immune cell function, the pregnancy has a successful outcome. If there is any alteration in the T cell response and abnormality of the immunological cells at the maternal fetal interface, this in turn results in various pregnancy complications like preeclampsia, IUGR, stillbirth, and sometimes even recurrent pregnancy losses and congenital abnormalities. And second one is the maternal fetal interface is not always immunogenic to all the organisms which cause from the mother to the fetus. So various infectious organisms can cause the decidua and placenta, can affect the fetus, so which in turn can causes various fetal complications including congenital abnormalities, IUGR, preterm birth, and even stillbirth. So this one, if you see the cytomegalovirus infection, latent infection is seen in about 30 to 70% of the population. So the immunocompetent host in a normal individual, the infection is controlled by the memory T cells. So cytomegalovirus DNA is detected about 89% in the first trimester, and placental infection is negatively correlated by the maternal IgG titers, and humoral immunity is the only difference. So reservoir is hemopoietic progenitor, mononuclear phagocytes, and stromal cells. So these are the structures which can act to defend the infection, but there is a chance of causing of the infection at the maternal fetal interface and the fetus being affected. So Listeria infection also is controlled by the T cells. It can cause extravillous trophoblast in villi and placenta. So this organism can be crossed by the leukocytes, and the interface is not completely blocking the transfer of the infection from the mother to the fetus, but some immune response can be seen with the activation of macrophages, neutrophils, and the trophoblast. So acute chorioamnionitis is a condition where there is infection of the chorion amniotic structures, and there is activation of interleukin 17, interleukin 22 production from the T cells and lymphoid cells, which in turn activates trophoblast, decidual stroma cells, and amniotic epithelial cells. This in turn produces interleukin 8 and granulocyte colony stimulating factors, which in turn activates neutrophils. So what are the causes of acute chorioamnionitis? Is ascending infection from the lower genital tract. So mainly the neutrophils are activated to cause an immune response, and this condition of acute chorioamnionitis can cause PPRO, that is preterm premature rupture of membranes and the preterm birth. So what is the overall view is decidua. Normally decidua in pregnancy causes specialization of leukocytes, that is specialized in natural killer cells and macrophages will be present. At the same time, it will be presenting the normal immune response. It will be restricting the normal immune response of the dendritic cells, T cells, and B cells. So the two important things which should be remembered is the normal decidua in pregnancy will prevent the normal immune response hosted by the host T cells, dendritic cells, B cells, so that the fetal graft rejection does not take place. At the same time, it produces a specialized form of leukocytes at the fetal maternal interface, including specialization of natural killer cells and the macrophage cells. So second one is the decidual environment will prevent the normal activation of the CD8 cells to T helper cells and cytotoxic T cells, so that normal graft rejection does not take place. Third one is the artificial decidual reaction. So This one it causes residual natural killer cell accumulation and T cell exclusion as stored residua. So normally what are the factors which can cause natural killer cells is interleukin 15, colony stimulating factor causes activation of macrophages, and chemokine silencing causes prevention of differentiation of the CD8 cells into T helper 1 cells and the cytotoxic T lymphocytes. So what are the conclusion is the trophoblast and the decidual natural killer cell interaction is essential for the success of pregnancy. So the residual natural killer cells will accept the trophoblast, and it will prevent the normal immune rejection of the host, which also consists of the genes from the father. So the threat in reproductive success is due to the pro-inflammatory molecules of the macrophages, which is interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. So if there is any abnormality in the immune cell function regulated at the maternal fetal interface due to the production of these cytokines, it can alter the graft rejection, which in turn can cause pregnancy complications like preeclampsia, IUGR, and the pregnancy losses. So decidual macrophage exposure to colony stimulating factor 1 is a major mechanism for local monocyte recruitment, and it is constant during gestation. So the dendritic cells in pregnancy will be normally reduced, so that this minimizes the activation of dendritic cells to the T cells, so that T cell immune responses will be suppressed, so that and the immunological response to the normal decidual antigen, including the fetal and paternal antigens, will be suppressed. So impaired activation of various these immune cells can result in pregnancy complications like abortions, recurrent pregnancy loss, IUGR, and preeclampsia. So the residua is not absolutely ground zero for preventing transfer of infection from the mother to the fetus. So there is chances of various infection being transferred from the mother to the fetus during pregnancy if there is active infections in the mother. Thank you.